Jeremy Kellett, Director of Recruiting here at Oakley Trucking, and I'm your host for this podcast. This is the Oakley Podcast, Trucking Business and Family, and appreciate all you guys listening to us every Wednesday as we bring you some new information, try to bring you some good stuff to make good decisions, be a successful owner-operator here at Oakley Trucking, and also share things that with your families too. So we all try to just communicate the best we can and give you some good stuff. And on this episode, I've actually got two guys sitting down with me. Todd Venable, the general manager at MHC Kenworth here in Little Rock. And I got Adam Kampbell, a truck salesman here at MHC Kenworth in Little Rock. And, we got to talking about, and I've been asked this from you guys, from our listeners a lot, is the new versus buying new trucks versus buying used trucks and some of the pros and the cons. And we're going to get the information right from them. I mean, they deal with it every day, sell new trucks, sell used trucks, and I think can give us a lot of information to help you if you're just trying to decide what's best for me. If it's your first truck coming out of the gate, maybe is new better than used? And we'll talk about all the details in between. But also, if you're an owner operator and you've had several trucks already, this may be something that'll really give you some good information on, why should I buy a new one maybe. So just going to get a little more detail. We're going to talk a little bit about technology. I've got a couple of questions that I've written down that I didn't tell them about. Just going to try to throw them a curve a little bit. So a little bit of everything. So let's just crank right up into it here and get started so we can get this ball going, because I got a feeling it's going to take a little while.
Aero Truck Sales has been in business for over 60 years and a longtime partner of Oakley Trucking and the Oakley Podcast. Trey Visor and Keith Wilson do a great job at putting you in the right truck to fit your needs and our needs here at Oakley. They carry all makes and models to choose from with on-site financing through transport funding. So whether you're a seasoned owner-operator or a first-time buyer, be sure to contact Keith Wilson at Aero Truck Sales at 573-216-6047 and tell them you heard it on the Oakley Podcast.
Hey, guys, I appreciate you joining me here on the Oakley Podcast. Adam Campbell, Todd Venable.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You guys, y'all done it before. We were talking about it a while ago, and you've done, this is your third, this is your second maybe, sitting down with us, and it doesn't seem like it. It's been, I can't believe we've been doing it this long. We were talking about how one of the first ones Todd came over and did, and it was back in the old office with the wood paneling,
right.
And it was just audio only.
Yeah.
It's been so long ago, we couldn't even remember what we talked about. So.
Yeah, yeah.
But you listeners can go back and check it out because it was one of the early ones. So.
Right. I think one of them was episode 69. I can't remember if that was the second one or the first one.
I think it was the second one because you were early on.
Okay.
I had to reach out to my friends to get this thing going. Let's get something going on.
Well, you're doing good, that's for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys, y'all. Side note, MHC Kenworth and Oakley have, known each other and dealt with each other for umpteen years nowadays, ever since before I got here.
Right.
Which was back in '94, so we were doing business before then, and it's great that we're able to establish that relationship for all these years, and it's because you guys have the same. I think you have the same purpose in mind of making these owner operators, more successful,
right,
and being better. So
it's a big part of our business.
Yeah. So. Give us a little bit of history on you, Adam, real quick.
So I've been selling trucks since right around 2016. So before that, I was on the parts sales side, and before that, I worked the parts counter, and then the parts counter back in the shop. So basically, my whole adult life, I've been involved on the dealership side with commercial trucks at a dealership. So.
How long you been with MHC?
Be about 8 years total.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Todd?
So I'm on my 30th year.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah. Started in '93 selling trucks in Springdale, Arkansas.
Wow.
So kind of traveled around my first 4 years. Landed in Little Rock in '96. This is where my kids grew up. We consider it home. We love it here. So I'm here to stay. So mainly kind of truck sales, parts manager at one time. Been the branch manager since '98. So Yeah, had a good run so far.
MHC you got an MHC tattoo.
I do. I do.
Right beside his Kenworth tattoo.
That's right.
I mean, that's what it is. When you've been there 30 years, you've done something.
That's
now.
right.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah,
for that.
thank you.
So good.
Thank you.
You know, we've this new versus used is, I think, something that's not talked about enough. I think every truck driver out there has their I'm new only, I'm used only type deal. You know, that's what they are set on. But I think talking to you guys can give us, you know, a little more detailed on the pros and the cons of some of this stuff. So first, let's start with the buying a new truck. Let's start with the pros. What are some of the pros? You want to start?
Yeah, I'll start. So one of the obvious things is you're getting a new truck. So you're not going to have to purchase tires. Your maintenance cost is going to be lower for the first couple of years that you own the trucks. So, you know, just the fact that you can get that thing on the road and understand that as you're making your paycheck, it can go in your pocket and not go against maintenance costs. So you're going to save some money on maintenance costs just purely because everything's new on the truck.
Mm-hmm.
So
What about you, Adam?
Yeah, you know, just to play off of that, one more little thing, you know, everybody that buys a new pickup truck, new car, new work truck,
Yep.
it's new. I mean, there's some pride in that. You're the first person that's owned it, and like he said, I mean, it's ready to go to work. But the second pro, I would say, is going to be the manufacturer's warranty. So Kenworth, Peterbilt, whatever brand it is, you're going to get a warranty from that manufacturer that is going to be, you know, the best warranty that you can get.
Typically, what is that?
A standard out-the-door warranty on a new truck is going to be 1 year on the manufacturer's warranty. 12 months, 100,000 miles. After that, you've got the 24-month engine and after treatment, and that's pretty much standard. And then you've got your component warranties. A lot of the transmissions nowadays are 5 years, 750,000 on the automated manuals. Your axles are typically going to be 5 years. You know, so everything's going to have warranty on it from the get-go. And then, of course, we have extended warranties from the manufacturer as well, whether it be Kenworth, Cummins, PACCAR engine, transmission.
So I can buy a new truck and have a warranty for how long? If I bought
600,000 miles is about.
yeah, that's about the range that they want to go out to in terms of miles. But like Adam was saying, you know, the warranties, we can talk about that for a whole session.
yeah.
And
We
so-
have before.
and we have. But you know, you talk about the 1 year warranty. Well, that's kind of we talk about in terms of kind of the bumper to bumper warranty. Okay, and then every other component on that truck has its own warranty that comes along with it.
Gotcha.
So alternator, like Adam was saying, the engines have the 2 year, transmissions, rear ends. Alternator has a warranty of its own on all the way on down the line, cab structure, everything. So, you know, you're already covered with warranty when you first buy the truck. So, you know, not only do you have, you know, your maintenance costs low on the tires and you know, the windshield doesn't need to be replaced, etc.
Yeah.
But you've already got some baked in warranties that you don't have to purchase, and if you do want to purchase them, there's some extended versions of every single one of those warranties that I just spoke of.
Sure.
And they're usually comparative to, you know, an aftermarket warranty on the used. They're actually cheaper, and they typically cover more.
The new
Yes.
warranties
Right.
on new trucks.
Right.
Yeah.
And the 12-month base warranty, like he said, that we can kind of consider a bumper to bumper. You know, that's basically everything on that truck minus wear items. So not going to be tires, not going to be brakes, you know, filters, oil changes, stuff like that. But, you know, electrical, wiring harnesses, you know, things of that nature, it's all included in that. As well as there's an adjustment period a lot of people don't know about. So I think it's 30,000 miles. The first 30,000 miles, you've got an adjustment period for whether it be alignments or vibrations, you know, rattles inside the cab. We've had, you know, unfortunately, we've had rattles, and, you know, we just have to address them and fix them, and that's no cost to the customer for that first little, basically like a break-in period. A lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, because you're gonna find it.
Right.
You are.
Right.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
What else? New truck pros.
Well, this goes along with what we were just talking about, but less downtime.
Mm-hmm.
So certainly everybody can understand that when we talk about the warranties, new tires, etc. So you're going to have less downtime.
Yeah.
So I don't know what more we can add to that, but
Right.
it's just going to be less downtime.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's good. Modern features.
Yeah.
Technology. I put a / technology there.
Right.
Fuel efficiency could fall into that modern features as well. So every few years, all the manufacturers will update the design. Kenworth came out with a new one a couple years ago that we call the next gen for the T680. That is an updated design. It is more fuel efficient, more modern, along with the interior. They've upgraded to a digital dash, just some more creature comforts. Just when you buy new, you get the newest and latest.
Yeah. I mean, that's
LED lights.
Right.
Every manufacturer has those now. They're better visibility. They last longer. So it's more cost effective. And so just like Adam said, really and truly, just like your automobiles you see today, some of these features you see kind of blow your mind. We've got the big screens in them now. Everything's digital. So a whole lot of the modern features, and that's a benefit.
one thing we didn't put on our list is the smell.
Yeah.
That's right off the beginning. There has never been anyone else in that truck but you.
That's right. I mean, that new smell. Just,
Yeah.
nobody else's smells in there yet.
Yeah, that's right.
You get to put the first one.
Oh,
in.
yeah.
That's pretty good. You also put here on your list financing, longer terms, better rates typically. Speak on that just a minute.
So, any finance company is going to look at a new piece of equipment as something that they can take a longer risk on, right? Because of some of the reasons we've just talked about, the warranties on them, the maintenance, the less downtime. So, when you're buying a new truck, typically you can finance them sometimes as far out as 72 months, sometimes farther than that. And so what that'll allow is somebody to get in the truck with a lower down payment. Or I should say, I'm sorry, not a down payment, lower monthly payment.
Gotcha.
Because they're stretching the terms out.
Yep.
So so many times the terms are better in aspect of, how much am I going to pay a month for the truck?
Is that something, Todd, a little side note here, is that something the finance companies have adjusted because of the increasing price of new trucks?
I think so.
Yeah. Finance companies.
Because it seemed like it used to be 60 months was standard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they're in the business to finance equipment, and as the equipment goes up, they've got to figure out how they chase that as well. So, that has certainly followed the price of the trucks.
Another maybe piece of advice that could go into that, along with, plays in with the warranty. So what I try to advise people when they're talking about financing a truck, brand new especially, if they're going to go 72 months, I would do the warranty to match, or as close to
What do you
it
mean
as
match?
possible.
Go-
The time frame.
Oh, okay.
Mileage, how many miles a year are you going to run on that truck, and you want to, if they only plan to keep the truck for 5 years, then 5-year warranty should be fine. But you want to have that warranty on that truck as long as you plan to keep it.
Yeah.
So if they want to keep it for 7 years and finance it or 6 years and finance it for 6 years, then I would advise the warranty to match. That way they've got a peace of mind the whole time they're making that payment and not having to make a repair cost and a payment.
Yeah.
Just
This next one may be your most important.
Mm-hmm.
Where the guy gets to pick what he wants. He gets to spec out a truck. I mean, that's probably one of the number one reasons they buy new is because I get my truck, get what I want. Wouldn't you think?
Mm-hmm. And a lot of guys, if they've never sat down with a salesman and looked at all the options and different ways to configure a truck, it can almost confuse a guy sometimes, but there are so many options that you can do on these trucks. I mean, you can make it exactly what you want. And that is a very, important thing to some people. We've done some for some Oakley guys out of Little Rock.
Like an example. Give me an example off the top of your head.
Of
Something they can pick that's, you wouldn't think so. Wouldn't think they could.
Well, engine, transmission, those are some of the obvious things. Rear end ratio.
That's probably the big thing.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Interior packages. So now,
that's what I'm thinking.
For instance, now the T680 the only way you could get a back wall storage on that truck was in a mid-roof. Well, now it's available in high-rise as well. So, just saying a guy goes and looks at a stock truck at a Kenworth dealership, pretty much anywhere in the country, they're going to be double bunks. Well, he doesn't want a double bunk. Well, you can order that truck as a single bunk and have this back wall storage. It's got cabinets and shelving, and it's really, really a nice feature. You're not going to find that in most stock trucks because most stock trucks are going to be built with double bunks. Refrigerators, we put them in pretty much most of them nowadays. But you've got inverter options from the factory, APU options from the factory with the S-bar heaters. You're not going to see that in a lot of stock trucks. You can do aluminum air tanks. You can do aluminum fifth wheel saddles, a couple things like that you can lower the weight of the truck. Different thicknesses of axle housings.
Really?
Disc brake versus drum. So, you could really dial in and get exactly what you want.
There's some guys out there licking their chops right now going, I love doing that stuff. Some of those gearheads going, oh, yeah, that's my.
Right, and it's fun to do.
I bet it is.
We usually, or I usually will try to start with the spec of a truck, and then we'll print it out and we'll look at it together, and we'll go through it. Mm-hmm. And what do you not like about this? Or what do you want on this? And we'll start changing things. And sometimes you may change it up 10 times before a guy's happy. But it's a process, but it's a fun process.
Well, yeah. Anytime you get to spec out what you want, it's custom to you.
Right, down to the paint.
That's pretty nice.
You want the frame painted one color and the truck another, vice versa. You can make it whatever you want.
Last one on our list for new truck pros. Nationwide dealer support,
right?
Pretty important.
Yeah, so no matter what brand of truck that you buy, you've got a dealer network out there, and then it even compounds on that depending on what engine that you have in the truck. So we sell Cummins engines as well as our PACCAR brand of engine. So you can not only take your truck to a Kenworth dealer to get it worked on. But you can take it to a Peterbilt dealer and any Cummins dealer in terms of the engine. So, that is an advantage, I think, to buying a new truck is just the fact that you have so many outlets from coast to coast of where you can take that truck to get it worked on in the warranty period of time and not have to worry about, not being able to take advantage of the warranty.
LubeZone has opened a new location in Statesville, North Carolina. It's located north of Statesville on Highway 77, just west of Exit 59. LubeZone services both single trucks and truck fleets, so whether you're driving through or you have a trucking company nearby, LubeZone are the experts to turn to. LubeZone's specialty is full-service oil changes that take approximately 30 to 40 minutes. They also offer tractor-trailer grease, gearbox service, generator service, reefer service, and DOT inspections. They also go the extra mile when it comes to quality control. What does that mean? That means your semi-truck is checked not just once, but twice to ensure all service and parts are good to go. LubeZone does this so you can rest easy knowing that your truck is in top condition. No other service center knows semi-trucks better than LubeZone. Check out lubezone.com for all their locations, and when you go in there, tell them you heard it on the Oakley Podcast.
All right, y'all sold me pretty good that a new truck is pretty convincing to order a new truck. I got it. Let's talk about the negatives because we're here to give honesty to everybody. So what's some of the negatives, the cons, new truck cons?
The biggest one, and it's a pretty obvious one, they cost more money.
Yeah.
So you asked about, or you were saying something about a first-time guy. That's probably the biggest con to a new truck, a first-time truck buyer. They're trying to start out. It's just a lot more money.
Yeah. And the prices, it just steadily stayed up there since they've gotten up high. It seems like they've just stayed up there, and big separation,
right?
Which we'll get to later on the difference between new and used. So price is one. What's some other stuff?
Well, along with the price, on a new truck, you've got to pay federal excise tax, FET, and so that's currently at 12%. So every new truck, whenever you drive it off the lot, you're going to lose that 12%.
Because you had to pay 12%
you pay that
times
up
the
front.
sales price
That's
of the
right.
truck.
That's right.
To the federal government.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there's no way around that.
I bet you've had guys try to figure out a way around
Nope, I never have.
it. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Now, does that 12% change?
So it has in my time during my
It's always been 12%.
It's always been 12%.
Okay.
But it's subject to change, so that's
Okay.
why I say currently.
Right.
I guess the only way around that is if it's a non-CDL required truck, or actually if it's less than 33,000 GVW. So that's the line. So obviously any Oakley truck is going to be 33,000 GVW and over. So it'll all have FET on it.
But our lighter duty trucks, our medium duty trucks, they are not FET taxable.
Okay. Okay. Tough. That's a tough pill to swallow right there.
Mm-hmm.
What else you got on the new truck cons?
So the uncertainty of new technology. So like we were saying earlier, comes out with new stuff all the time. Well, most of the time it's a good thing, but there are issues here and there. One of the biggest ones that probably stands out to everyone is emissions. So every so often, every few years, there's a new EPA standard that engine manufacturers have to meet. So right now we're currently under the EPA 21. Well, there's fixing to be an EPA 24. So there'll be new emissions on those trucks. So what could come with that? We don't know yet. So hopefully hopefully it goes smoothly. But if you remember back
Yeah.
a while, there was some big problems when they first introduced DEF and
So they're making some changes to that starting when?
24.
When they're building 24 trucks?
Right. Mm-hmm. They'll actually be classified as 25-year models, but they build in the 24 calendar year.
That was actually one of my questions at the end was what changes are coming to new trucks.
Well, then we can dive back into it.
I mean, let's go ahead. I mean, I think that's even though I get a little sidetracked, but on new truck cons, but that that is a con because if we don't know what those changes are going to be.
Right. Well,
So really, it's just as simple as this. They keep lowering the NOx levels that are allowed, and so they keep narrowing that box and making it smaller and smaller. And when I say they, the government, and so the engine companies have to follow that mandate in order to have approved.
So explain that. They keep lowering the NOx.
Okay, so
to Annabelle.
All right, so that's clearly just the
nitrogen oxide level of the exhaust.
Yeah, so what's coming out of
so
the pipe? What's coming out of the pipe? How clean is it?
Just keep trying to get it cleaner and cleaner and cleaner
Right.
and cleaner.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I mean, good grief.
Eventually, this is way down the line, but engine manufacturers talk about it already. Eventually, I think the goal is 2050, 0 emissions. I don't know how that's achievable, but
Electric.
no, there's other ways that they're working on. It won't be just electric, but that is the ultimate goal: is 0 emissions out of these engines.
Then it's not an engine.
That's right.
Right, and it is out of our control.
Right.
The engine manufacturers they have to meet the regulations, or they cannot produce the engines in the United States.
Right. Yeah.
So there's already hydrogen being tested, and they're finding some success with that. Cummins is even talking about a new platform of engines that are going back to gasoline.
Mm-hmm. The smaller truck engines.
And so there's combinations between electric and diesel and how much that'll be emission-wise. So I think, everybody's got a different platform that they're trying to explore to see what works the best. We've had natural gas engines out for some time now. And there's challenges with every one of them. That's the whole thing. There's nothing that fits into the same success or capabilities of what a diesel engine can do right now when it comes to how far they can go range, to how easily it is to fuel your truck and how many fuel stops there are, and you can just go on and on with that. So if you talk about electric, or you talk about even natural gas that's been around for a while, the big thing there is how far can the truck go. So you're limited on the range, and how many fuel stops are there in between here and where you're going.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of challenges that are going to have to be met I don't proclaim to be an expert on any of it, but that's just the clearly the things that are going to be the obstacle.
I had a guy on the podcast. It was earlier this year. He's from Washington, D.C., and that's exactly what we were talking about was the infrastructure on, but you go to electric where there's no place to recharge them anywhere. I mean, there are places that are getting it, but that was a good episode for people to go back and listen to. I don't know which one it was exactly, but
just the last thing I'd say on that for everybody listening, the diesel combustible engine is not going anywhere anytime soon. So it's going to be around.
Not in our
They're
lifetime.
just going to keep adding to the filter of the exhaust. I mean, that's the goal.
New truck cons. Okay, we've discussed price, federal excise tax, uncertainty of this new technology. Now the next one, availability.
Right. So,
Explain that a little bit.
So here in the last few years, COVID, manufacturers have had some constraints in terms of the suppliers being able to supply them the parts to build the trucks. So Kenworth has mandated limitations on how many trucks each dealer group can get. So we're on what's called an allocation. And so that limits the number of trucks that I can sell to my customers. And so when they can't build as many trucks, then there's less trucks available to be able to offer. So,
And when there's less supply, there's more demand.
price goes up.
That's the way it's
but
always
there
been.
is good news to that. So as far as availability goes, as of right now,
We're on cons right now. This is all negative. I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Tell
But
it.
I mean, the availability is an issue. That is a con, but it has gotten better in recent months as far as availability of new trucks. There are trucks on the ground that are available now. As of a year ago, you wouldn't find one. I mean, if you didn't have your name on a list and an order placed, you were not getting a new truck. So they have gotten better. That's
So
all
now
I'm
you've
gonna
got stock trucks.
Correct.
We do.
That are available and pretty good. But if I was going to order a truck from you today, how long is it going to take me to get it?
As far as that goes, we'd have about 3 months is what we're looking at. You'd be at 4 months. So probably around February, the end of January, if you were to sit down with me and we built a truck and you were ready to go, we could have a truck by February of next year.
All right. But you got nice ones on the lot that are ready to sell. Yeah, that's good. More availability. New truck cons, financing.
So anytime you're talking about a higher priced piece of equipment, you're going to have a higher down payment. And so the price to pay poker goes up when you're talking about a new truck. So
Yeah, pretty simple.
Yeah.
When it costs more, you got to have more money.
yeah.
And probably better history, better credit.
Right.
Yes.
Typically on a new, I would think so. I added one here on a new truck con that's not on your list, but I thought about it, was insurance rates. If somebody's considering buying a,
Right. That makes sense.
your insurance is gonna be higher because you're
You're
insuring
covering
more.
Yeah, you're covering more money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, so you got to kind of figure that in. A lot of people, don't even figure in insurance. They just want the truck. They
Yeah.
just go buy the
Yeah.
truck, and then all of a sudden their insurance payment is like, high, and they're like, well, that's what you got. Okay, we covered new pretty good. I think it's real good, guys. Sorry it took me a little long there to get through it, but that's all right.
No.
Let's talk used truck pros. So I'm interested in buying a used truck. What are the pros of buying a used truck?
All right. So first one, kind of like the new, price. So what you're gonna get is the depreciation on that truck. The first hit has already been taken, which I think might be on there in another spot. So,
That's all right.
but yeah, that FET we were talking about, it's already been taken. So,
That's a big one.
lower price. That's probably the biggest factor as a pro for a used truck.
Yeah, and that goes into Todd, your last one here, current market. It's a buyer's market, so the actual price of used trucks are coming down, or what?
Yes, yeah. So we've kind of hoped they've hit bottom, but we have just come off record values, if you will, if that's how you want to state it, of used equipment. Guys that were selling trucks were getting more than what they had paid for them two years ago. We could trade for anything and make money on them. I mean, it was just a really wild west market, you know. And so that everybody knew that was going to level out, come down, get back to normal. So we probably had a market adjustment that's a little bit farther than normal right now. But it's low now. And so it's a buyer's market, and just in terms of entry-level price of vehicles, it's as low as it's been in years.
And you wouldn't think that, I guess, but I mean, you know, there being such a big gap between new and used, if used is coming down, but you've got a surplus of used trucks. I mean, out there, is there a?
There is. That's kind of the next point, the wide variety and selection.
Okay, yeah.
We have tons of trucks right now. Used, yeah. There is just a vast, selection.
Now, are these trucks, the used trucks, they got more miles on them than the used trucks you had 5 years ago, it seemed like, or are they still getting rid of? Because in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, well, they kept their trucks longer, so now they've probably got 600,000 miles on them instead of the ones we used to buy or refer guys to you to buy with 300,000 on them.
We still have them.
You still have them,
yeah,
so that's
do.
good. That's good.
And so a lot of the big fleets, they're going to stick to a trade cycle that's based on miles.
Okay.
And their whole program is based on that trade cycle and trying to stay within that. So, MHC is a pretty big company, so we have a lot of big fleets that we sell to, and they've continued to trade their trucks on a normal trade cycle. So we're still seeing a lot of the trucks that are, high threes, low fours on miles.
Okay.
And they continued to trade the trucks during the COVID period, if you will. And so yeah, we've maintained a really nice level of inventory.
So that's good. I mean,
Yeah.
To have the lower price, it's going down, and wider variety. I mean, now you're financing. That's one of the pros of financing a used truck, I guess.
Right. So it's kind of like the new with a higher down payment. Typically used is a lower down payment.
Yeah.
Just because the overall financed amount. Your first time buyers, we've said this before on previous shows, but a rule of thumb that's been this way for a long time is about 20% down just for a first time buyer. So 20% of a $60,000 truck is a whole lot less than 20% of a $190,000 truck.
That's right. Yeah, that's what we actually tell them when we're talking to them in the recruiting department. They ask us a lot of times. We say, well, the rule of thumb is 20%. You better, if you don't have 20, then you better keep saving.
It's pretty well stayed that way. I mean,
yeah. What else are pros if you're wanting to buy a used truck?
The next one's maintenance. So you're more options as far as where you can take a used truck. So if your truck is not under a manufacturer's warranty and you want to use a local shop to do whatever maintenance needs to be done, well, then you can do that. Where if it's a brand new truck and you're having something done and you take it somewhere that's not a Kenworth dealer or a Peterbilt dealer, like you said, for a PACCAR Cummins or something like that, you're going to end up paying for that repair yourself. So on a used truck, you can kind of take it wherever you'd like.
Yeah. Because a lot of guys, they want to use their mechanic.
Right.
That's right.
And I don't blame them.
No, I don't either.
They feel good about it and want to use that. And you can do that when you got a used truck.
That's right.
Right.
But what about this last one here of extended warranties available?
So the biggest thing about the extended warranties on used is, yes, there's a lot of them available. And the ones we sell are still very good warranties. And the biggest pointer I would say to anybody that purchases one of those warranties is anywhere you go to get a repair done on that truck, you should ask them up front, do you guys honor this warranty? And they should know whether they do or not. Yeah. But there's a lot of places, almost any dealership in the country does, say, Premium 2000. I mean, that's probably the most popular warranty. And there's a lot of smaller shops out there that are in Premium's, network for repair facilities. But I would definitely ask before you take your truck under a used truck warranty somewhere, if they honor it or not.
Yeah, they need to know that. Oakley Trucking is a 100% owner-operator company. We specialize in hopper bottom, end dump, and pneumatic trailers. We provide the trailer free of charge, and you provide the truck. We have a large customer base that reaches the whole United States as well as parts of Canada. Our owner-operators live anywhere from Texas to North Carolina to Pennsylvania to Wisconsin and everywhere in between, and we get them home weekends. We take it seriously when you join Oakley Trucking because we need you to be successful. Oakley offers great benefits and competitive mileage pay, so you know that when your wheels are turning, you're generating money no matter if you're loaded or empty. We understand that you want to make a good living and that you make our living. We only take on independent contractors, and to be honest with you, we are very particular on who we lease on. You must have a good driving record, good work history, and clean, dependable truck. So if you're interested in Oakley Trucking or just want some more information, you can go to oakleytrucking.com, listen to our weekly podcast, The Oakley Podcast, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Okay, just a refresher, we are here. I got Todd Venable and Adam Kampbell with MHC Little Rock sitting down with me. We are talking pros and cons of new trucks, pros and cons of used trucks. We're down to the last used truck cons. We just finished up with the pros of buying a used truck. A lot of good things in there, including the price and the financing. It seems like price right now is the best part of that one because it is a buyer's market. But what are some of the negatives that somebody needs to think about if they're looking at buying their, typically, Adam, a lot of guys, come to Oakley. A lot of them are company drivers. They're getting in their first truck. They're nervous as a cat. They don't know what to expect. They've never bought a truck before. I think a used truck is a smart way to go, but there are some negatives to buying a used truck. Mm-hmm. What's some of those?
So the first one that we kind of listed is you're limited to a truck that's already built. It's already on the ground. So you're not going to be able to change a lot of things about that truck. Engine, transmission, rear axle ratios, things of that nature, the way the interior's set up. You can add some things on your own if you want, but you're buying what's already there.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be able to really tailor fit it to you exactly.
Well, you get what you got. I mean, that's what you're looking at.
There is a variety. So we already stated that as a pro. But like he had mentioned, when you sit down and spec a new truck, man, you get to pick every single item and how you want that truck, and all the way down through every nut and bolt on the truck just about.
Yeah.
And that's where you're limited on your specs based on what's on the lot, what you have, because the truck's already built. So.
Mm-hmm. He used to sell new trucks, didn't he?
Also, let me add to that. So on the used cons, this has happened several times, I'm sure. But these transmissions nowadays, they're much more advanced electronically, technology-wise. And with Oakley especially, PTOs. Mm-hmm. If you're buying a truck and it's a used truck, you need to really dive in on an automatic to make sure that it is one that you can run a PTO on, because the last thing I want to do as a salesman is sell a guy a truck that he can't use for what he's intending to buy it for, or find out that it's going to cost him a whole lot more money to make it work. And that is not any salesman's intention, I hope, but it can happen.
It's happened.
Oh, yeah, I know.
It has happened.
So, that's another big con that's not necessarily listed out individually. But if a guy's going to hopper, it's fine, but if he ever wants to move to another division one day, it could be an issue.
It limits him.
Right.
Yeah, we've been fighting that. That's a whole nother subject. We've been fighting those automatics, and most of them will work. There's just a few, and then some of them just have to have some things added to it, or
right.
Speaking the terms I don't know, but you have to let the motor know that it's getting a PTO, or it has to be programmed.
Right.
Yeah.
Some of that happens. There's ways to do it, but there's some out there that ain't happening. Yeah, we're not putting a PTO on it. So.
And so, a good rule of thumb, just to let everybody know, if it's a manual transmission, you're not going to have that issue.
Yeah.
But a lot of guys don't have a manual CDL, I guess. So.
Well, which is okay. One of my questions. Are all truck manufacturers going to automatics?
So all the truck manufacturers already have an automatic option, right? And
Yeah,
so,
but are they gradually weeding out manuals?
well, I don't think it's a matter of weeding them out. I think the buying public is who's weeding it out. So, with the driver shortages and the challenges that every company has with hiring drivers, So
you're saying the demand's not there?
The demand is going away. Now, there's certain applications, vocational, a standard transmission still more prevalent, right? But
hood trucks.
Hood trucks, but when it comes to, your fuel efficient, those trucks, I've had companies call and tell me that, hey, our first automatic, this driver was not going to drive it. Convinced him to take it on a trip, came back and said he'll never get in a manual again. It's a better product than it used to be. So it's very reliable. It's easy to drive. As a company standpoint or an owner operator standpoint, puts more money in your pocket because it'll get better fuel mileage. That's proven. And so there's too many advantages to it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and they're also putting people through CDL schools that's all they are allowed to drive.
Their license will have a restriction.
Their license will have automatic only on it because they've never driven a standard.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's right.
I mean, I know y'all heard the joke about the guy that stole the car out of the neighborhood, and we found it the next morning parked at the stop sign, and doors open because it had a manual transmission and he couldn't drive it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we've got a couple more there on used truck cons. What's some negatives on buying a used truck?
Unknown history of the truck. Typically whenever we acquire a truck, whether it's via trade or we purchase it, we try to find out everything we can about it in order to know what kind of condition it's in. But there's certain things that you're just not going to find out, or know. And so there's a little bit of that where, you try to take it through a used truck inspection and, look at all that, but there's not everything that you're going to catch. So just the fact that you're buying something that's got, a certain amount of miles on it, that's certain years old, and you just really don't know where, what, and why that truck's been used, and so you really just don't know what you're getting in some aspects.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anything to add to that?
The other part of it, I guess, is the downtime on a used truck. It plays into that.
I saw you put that on there that downtime might be more.
Right. Well,
which I guess it's a used truck, so you're just going to have to replace more stuff, more parts.
Yeah, if a truck's got 500,000 miles on it versus no miles, odds of having an issue are going to be greater.
Yeah, of course.
But so that being said, the extended warranty is an option on used trucks that Kenworth or MHC sells, and we try to advise that every time, just because you don't want to be making a payment on a truck and spending $15,000 at a shop.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean the likelihood of repairs are higher on used than new.
The only thing else I added on mine was resale value.
Mm-hmm.
I guess could be, what would you consider that? Pro, con, pro on new, con on used?
So I've got it kind of on both. So we already talked about the pros of used, and the current market. It's a buyer's market, but I also put it as a con, because if I purchased a truck 3 years ago when the market was high, and I'm trying to trade that truck now, then I might be in a situation where I'm upside down based on what the value is today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it can be both.
Right.
I bet you're seeing a lot of that right now,
Right.
probably. Yeah.
We are.
And there's, kind of play on that one more thing, on the new versus used. So a lot of guys get in a cycle, kind of like he spoke about with the fleets. They're on trade cycles. So on a new truck, say you buy one, you plan to keep it for 3 years, you have warranty the whole time. You trade it after 3 years, you're on the plus side of it, you got some equity in it, you come out.
Typically you do, don't you?
Most of the time,
Most
yeah.
of the time
If
you
the
do.
guys,
As long as they hadn't run it in the ground.
or missed payments and stuff like that. But yeah, if they're making the payments, they get to the good side of it. They've got some equity in that truck. A lot of times in those situations, a guy that trades every 3 or 4 years, he get in a new one without having to put any money down because he can take that equity out of that used truck and roll it in. And then he's got a new truck every 4 years, and he's always got warranty. And so a lot of guys, that's what they want to get to, or they have gotten to, and that's the way that it works best for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that seems like the smart thing to do, you know, but there's some guys out there that,
You got to get there.
You got to get there. You know, you got to be able to get there first. So sometimes you got to take that step, getting that used truck first.
Right, and we've sold some used trucks to some Oakley guys over here that have had great luck. I mean, just never have issues. You know, you just don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
We hope that's the case, but you just don't know.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, it's just everybody has a different preference on it, and it's a lot of it's what they can afford, but eventually, I think their goal is to be able to. I mean, I would think an owner operator's goal is to be able to spec me out a truck. Man, I've hit the top when I can get my own truck for the job I'm doing and spec it out the way I want to. I think it would be good. A couple other things. Parts availability, we covered that a little bit with the maintenance and stuff. Is that still an issue, or is it gotten better?
It's gotten a whole lot better. There are some pockets where it's an issue. So, we still talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, what can you do?
Right.
We talked about fuel efficiency. That was one of my questions: is the fuel efficiency getting better with the new trucks? I mean, all the time. It seems like, I guess.
Definitely a yes.
You know, it's got to be.
It's top priority, pretty much, for all the manufacturers. I mean,
Well, it ought to be for what these trucks cost. I mean, they ought to get some better fuel mileage. I mean, and help these guys who have got to have these trucks. So.
It kind of plays into the EPA along with the emissions. I mean, manufacturers get credits for building fuel-efficient trucks. And it's a kind of a confusing thing, but it plays into how many hood trucks you can build versus aerodynamic trucks, and there's some sort of equation. The government has their hand in that as well. So all the manufacturers are trying to build fuel-efficient trucks.
So one last thing here, got to talk about the pre-emission trucks. You know, are you guys still seeing a bunch of those? I mean, are they or if you have an opportunity to get your hands on one, do you buy it and then because it's going to sell quick, or is it no because you probably can't find? I don't know if people even finance those. An 05 model, an 07 model.
That's the trick.
That's it.
We do see them. We actually have one right now.
Yeah.
That's an old W900 98 model. So the deal is on those, like, you're not going to get financed unless you've got a credit line through your personal bank that you can go borrow from. You're not going to find a commercial lender that's going to loan you the money on a 2000 model truck.
Is the demand still pretty high for those trucks, pre-emission trucks?
I'd say there's people that look for them, but not as many as there used to be.
Yeah, used to when the rule first came out. Yeah, they were all, you know, you couldn't find. I wished I'd had a yard full of 07s.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they were selling like hotcakes back then. But you know, I mean, now, I mean, you can't get it worked on. You got to take it to. I mean, y'all can't work on a pre-emissions truck.
Now we can a pre-emission. What we can't work on is a truck that's been deleted.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm with you. It's been deleted. Yeah.
So we're not scared of pre-emission trucks in terms of purchasing them. You just have to be in them right, knowing that these trucks are going to not be financed like Adam pointed out, and somebody's got to come to the table with cash. And so you just got to be in them right. But they're still popular.
Yeah, because finance companies don't want to
That's
finance
right.
something out of
And most of the time, what I've experienced, just personally, the guys that are looking for those trucks are usually local guys that are, you know, not running coast to coast. They're usually regional or whatnot, and they don't want to have to deal with the electronic logs or something.
Yeah, right. Okay, last thing I got. This is it. We're going to close on this one. This one's for you, Todd. Tell me about this anniversary truck parked out here on the parking lot.
Well, so Kenworth's 100th anniversary of building trucks is this year. So they came out with a W900 special edition truck. So it's got some neat badging on the inside that signifies that it is a 100th anniversary, so it's a special truck. They're also identified by the serial number of the truck. There's only, Adam, help me out with this.
900 ever.
900 of the W9s built that are going to be the anniversary edition. They have a special paint scheme. Really neat interior design
All
changes.
the same?
No, you can get
No.
them in a studio. There are some that are the 72-inch mid roofs. We've even got some T680s. Now there's more of those built than just the 900 W900s, but real eye-catching truck.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and
It's
we're-
sitting
we're-
out here. You guys parked it out here on our yard for a few days. It's short now.
Beautiful interior. We're really proud of what Kenworth did with
Yeah,
it.
it's similar to, they did the Icon back a few years ago, and then Peterbilt's had some numbered trucks. It's just neat.
Yeah.
It's cool to say I've got number 322 out of 900.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But
100 years in business is pretty impressive.
yeah,
I mean, that's worth celebrating.
Yeah, it is.
I
Yeah.
guarantee you.
yeah.
Good. Well, anything else you guys like to add? All covered it, didn't we?
I appreciate you having us.
Yeah,
and-
thank you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I appreciate y'all sitting down with me and doing this. I think this is good information for everybody out there, not just our owner-operators make decisions, people we're recruiting, but, just to help them, give them some pros and cons of what's best for them maybe in their scenario and things to watch out for. So, thank you.
I will say one last thing, whatever suits the person, everybody's different.
That's
and
right.
Everybody has, a different past and a different, circumstances. So, it might make sense for somebody to buy used versus new. It might make sense for somebody to buy new versus used. And
Well, I can't wait to see all the comments.
we want to help everybody out. How about that?
I can't wait to see what all the comments we get on this stuff. So, hey, I appreciate everybody. And speaking of comments, be sure and give us some comments down here. What you want to hear, what you thought about the episode. It really is nice. And if you've got questions for Todd or Adam, you can of course give them a call over to MHC in Kenworth here in Little Rock. Or you can send them to me. I'll be glad to pass them along to them. But, I appreciate everybody listening to this podcast. You guys do, a great job giving me feedback, and it's always good to have a good listener base out there. So if you got questions, let us know. Other than that, we'll talk to you next week. Thanks.